to be authentic.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, there's no originality anymore. You could have the same message as 10 other YouTubers out there, but people are going to connect with you differently.
Okay.
Right? It's like you and I could make the exact same video, right? You're going to attract a different audience, I'm going to attract a different audience. People are going to connect with you differently than they're going to connect with me. Right? So it's never too late to get into this, but to level up, you got to beat them. You got to be more consistent. You have to, I'm not going to say more original, but you have to build that connection with your audience with the way that you may do the same thing, but a little bit differently.
Gotcha.
Right? You just have to provide that value.
All right, AK, welcome to Success Never Rests. On your worst day, be good. On your best day, be great. And on every other day, we get better. Let's dive right into this. You have nearly 100,000 YouTube subscribers across 3 channels.
Yeah.
I want to know how that journey began for you.
So, well, first of all, thanks for having me, man. I love your show.
Appreciate you coming.
But, you know, when I first got started, I knew things were changing when it comes to marketing. And I've never been a traditional real estate agent where, you know, I don't like working expireds. I don't like door knocking, none of that stuff, right? So, you know, a few years ago, I started doing Facebook ads.
Okay.
And with video, because I've always, it's weird. I'm an introvert, but I'm not shy of the camera.
Okay.
So I started making videos to put up on Facebook, and I started running Facebook ads to become like the local go-to person, because you could target people on Facebook at that time, and it was great. And the cost was, it was expensive, but it was worth it because clients were coming in. And then I realized, you know what, YouTube, it's free. I can put up as much content as I want. And as long as people are watching or are able to find me, my cost isn't gonna be as much because it's a free platform and it's a search engine. And my background is marketing and search engine optimization anyway. So I started putting stuff out on YouTube, and just, it took a while. It took a while. But the thing was, I had seen other people do this in other industries. There weren't a lot of local realtors in Dallas that were doing YouTube, but it was working for a lot of people, right? So it was more about consistency than anything else. I just didn't give up, right? Because my first few videos, man, if you look at them now, I can't even recognize that person, right? And so I just started putting out content. I didn't get my first lead off of my YouTube channel for, I think it was, I closed my first deal 7 months in.
Okay.
And I was putting out 1 video a week religiously. Like I would not miss a beat because I knew it was all about consistency.
Yeah.
So even though the results weren't there, right? You have to put in the reps, right? You got to put in the reps to build. So I started doing all of that stuff, and over time, when the first one closed, I already had other people in the pipeline that had reached out. So it just started snowballing, and it just kept growing and growing. So I just doubled down, and I just went all in on video. So all my business, majority of my business now comes from YouTube.
What was your aha as far as this is it, this is how it's going to work, this is how AK is moving forward from here on?
So the aha moment was when people started subscribing to the channel that I did not know. Because, you know, first, of course, I threw it out to my friends and family and, like, you know, everyone on Facebook that I knew.
Yeah.
So I got some subscriptions that way. But when people started subscribing that I didn't know, and I started seeing the views going up, I was like, oh my God, people are actually watching this, right?
Okay.
It's like people that I don't know are actually watching this. This is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then when the text and the phone calls started coming in, I'm like, holy, like, I think I'm onto something.
Okay.
And then again, just like anything, right? When you see something working, you accelerate, right? You double down, you pump out more and more,
exactly.
Right? Because in our business, in our industry, I'm sure you'll agree, there are so many shiny objects, right?
Yeah.
That you see one thing working, but then another thing will come up, and you're like, oh my God, I gotta try this. But I've always been with the mindset that, you know what, if it's working, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Just do it more.
Yeah. The shiny objects probably leads to the 88% dropout rate for first couple of years of agents.
Oh yeah.
Because
sure.
there's so many lanes of real estate to run,
right.
And when people start, they try to run every single lane.
Yeah.
And, I tell new agents that you need to find one lane. It's probably in your phone.
Yeah.
And get in that lane first. So,
Oh, yeah.
I know with the Facebook, ads and things, you've got landing pages, and then that feeds them into something else, funnels and things. Do you run your YouTube like that, or is it just straight subscribers dropping comments and you communicating with them through that?
So here's the funny part. I'm big into analytics, right? Because I like to see what's working. Because anything that you can measure, you can work on, right? 88% of my views do not come from my subscribers. Okay. So so the subscriber base doesn't need to be that big to be successful on YouTube, right? As long as people are watching your videos. The way I run my stuff is I started experimenting with landing pages, but what I noticed was the quality of the leads wasn't as good because I was doing lead magnets, right? So, 10 tips for first-time home buyers. Link in the description below, right? Like, download this free link. People would put in their name, email address, they would download it. But, these were people that were maybe just getting started or weren't as serious and just curious. So the follow-up process was a lot more. So what I switched to and what's really been working is I just have my phone number and email address, and then I've got a call to action that says, hey, just call me, text me, email me if you want to chat. And then when they do that, I send them over to my Calendly link where they set an appointment with me, right? So it's more about setting expectations from the beginning with people that you're working with, and if they're going to take the time to schedule a call that's convenient for you, right? That already qualifies them that they're not just kicking around, right? Because they're going to respect your time.
Exactly.
So I started using that, and one thing that kind of led to that was the whole concept of other professionals, right? Us in the real estate market and in the real estate industry, we will jump through hoops to talk to people when they're available. Right? Yeah. It's like how many agents get burnt out because they're tired of taking phone calls at 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But what I started doing was on my calendar, I've got X amount of time. That's the only time I'm going to take phone calls. Yeah. So because if you call up a doctor for an appointment, you call up a lawyer, right? Are they going to take? Are you going to meet with them at their office at like 10 o'clock at night? You're not. No. So that limited amount of time creates that additional value for your clients as well, or your potential clients. Where it's a mutual respect that I'm going to respect your time, you're going to respect my time, right? Yeah. So that's what I started doing, and what happened was, with that, more of the serious buyers started popping up, and the ones that were still in their initial stages, they just continued watching my content. So that was providing more content for them, for them to build that relationship with me through video. Yeah. And I'll give you a great example. So a couple of months ago, I had some clients that bought a house right here in Frisco. They had been watching my videos for 6 months while they were still living in Dubai.
Wow.
When they landed here, they called me a week later saying, hey, we just moved here a week ago. We've been watching your videos for the past 6 months, and we're ready to buy a house right now. Wow. So guess what? I didn't have to do 6 months of follow-ups. Yeah. My content was doing that for me. Exactly. Right? So when they're serious, they reach out to you because our time is valuable, and we need to recognize that and realize that. So when you're only working with serious clients that are coming your way, it's a whole game changer. So that's the process that I use for my channel to generate the business.
Yeah. So basically, your YouTube channel is working as a full-time drip campaign.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
Exactly. It's my ISA.
Yeah.
Right? It's my inside sales agent, right? It's like, it's doing all the follow-ups for me, it's doing all of this stuff. And when people comment certain things that they want more information about, I just create a video about it. It's less thinking that I have to do about what content to make.
Yeah, because if they've got a question about it, there's 100 other people that do too, if not thousands.
Yeah, exactly. So not only does their question get answered, it helps other people out too, and this way they also feel special that, hey, they're being heard. Yeah. Right? And it's so much about that connection now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've already dropped a ton of knowledge on us. I think your presence online, I think your brand is, one of somebody that pretty much gives away most of the knowledge they've acquired. I really respect that. I think it's very rare in our industry. Our industry's full of a bunch of egomaniacs that don't want to share anything. They think they've got all the answers.
It's funny because it's true.
You know, the funniest things in life are the truest things. So, but going back to your giving attitude, you know, where can you trace that back to? Like, if you were to follow the crumbs of your success backwards, where do you think that would lead you to?
I think a lot of it has to do, I think, with my upbringing. Got to give credit to my parents and my grandparents, right? And then just like, we've always been very involved in like giving in church and stuff like that. So we've always come from the, you know, the concept of giving, right? Because, you know, especially giving without expectation, and the funny thing is it comes back tenfold and you don't even expect it. So when you're just genuinely just wanting people to succeed, it just follows you.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard to explain, but the only people that get it are the ones that have experienced it.
Yeah.
Right? Because in theory it seems ridiculous, but man, it works. Like, right? So I think a lot of it just has to do with just the way I was brought up, with just being, you know, with my parents helping people, my grandparents doing a lot of, you know, community service and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it was just instilled at me from a young age.
Yeah, and then, you know, I'm kind of I watched my mother give and, you know, just always be there for me, my brother, and everybody around her. So I've always kind of tried to take that servant, I call it servant leadership. When I coached basketball, I'd be the guy out there sweeping the floor because I just thought that showed the right example. And like you say, it comes back to you. It's hard to understand why.
Right.
It's really hard to have the faith that it's going to come back to you. And, you know, I think for a lot of people, it's hard to give without thinking about getting.
Right. And I think that's what's going on also with a lot of content creators now. Right? If you look at the ones that are the most successful, right? They're just giving without expecting anything.
Yeah.
Because if you provide value to people, they know you have more value to give, so they want to work with you. If you give certain things and, you know, you leave out some parts, dude, it is hard being transparent on video. Like, people can read right through it. You can't fake being authentic on video.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I think video is so great, because only the people that are actually wanting to give will succeed. And if you've got ulterior motives, dude, it's not gonna. But at the same time, you can also generate a lot of business out of it, because the way just every business is going, right? Real estate is something that's super important, and that's what we're a part of. But if you look at any industry, anyone can buy anything. It's now about the customer service experience. Realtors in Dallas, we've got what, like 20,000 realtors in the Dallas area?
Exactly, yes.
How many are actually producing?
Yeah,
right?
Small percentage.
Very small percentage. And the ones that are, they're authentic. They build connections, right? They're looking out for their clients. They actually look out for their fiduciary duty of doing what's best for their clients.
Yeah.
Right? Because anyone can fill out a contract to buy a house, man. It's about your knowledge and what you bring to the table. Yeah. That's the intangible.
Yeah, with ChatGPT now, it can fill it all out.
Oh my God. Oh my God, yeah, that's a whole different beast.
We'll talk about that one another time. Let's talk about social media, specifically YouTube, you know, for business owners. What would be your number one tip if, you know, when you're talking to someone that's just starting out, wanting to market their business, maybe it's real estate, maybe it's something else, but they want to really dive into video, social media marketing, what would be that first tip?
The first most important tip, and I'll also go into the biggest mistake that I see people making, right? The first step, create content that's searchable. Because you're gonna start off with 0 subscribers, you're not gonna have any views. So what you need to do is you need to target key phrases or things that people would be searching for that have kind of medium kind of search volume, but very low competition, so you can stand out, right? Okay. And there's a great tool for that. It's called there's a website called Keywords Everywhere. Okay, Keywords Everywhere is great. There's another software, it's called vidIQ. vidIQ is great for doing searches. And these platforms will show you, okay, if you put in buying a house in Dallas, for instance, right? It will give you, okay, this is the search term people are looking for. This is the search volume of how many Google searches it's getting every month. And this is the competition if it's high or low, right? And this leads to a mistake that I see people making. New YouTubers will be like, oh my God, this thing has like 200,000 searches. I'm gonna go for that because it'll be a lot of volume. They don't realize it's also very hard because the competition for those keywords is really high, right? I would say target keywords or key phrases, long tail key phrases, right? That are maybe 1,500, 2,000 searches a month, right? That's still like a good 50, 70 searches a day, right? But the competition's not going to be as much, right? So an example of that could be buying a house in X neighborhood in Frisco, Texas, right? Or doing like very small related searches which are so specific that they still get searches, but they're not like bombarded by competition.
Yeah. Okay.
So once you build up that small base first of being able to be found on search, then the subscribers will start, the views will start. YouTube will know exactly who your audience is that's looking for your videos. That's going to help you grow as a small channel as you're coming up. And when you become bigger, then you can go for those hard-hitting, high frequency search terms.
All right. And then, what is the biggest mistake you see people making then?
So with the same thing as them targeting high volume search terms, it's also putting out content for the sake of putting out content, and it's not valuable. Gotcha. Yes, consistency is super important, but make sure you're providing value, right?
Okay.
It's that, some YouTubers get caught up in okay, I gotta post once a week, but then because they're not putting thought into what they're putting out crap content. And then not just that, oh man. All right, so one mistake that I see a lot of people make, and I see this in a lot of realtors, okay, is they'll post a lot of non-real estate related videos on their YouTube channel, right? Like, dude, no one wants to see you grocery shopping. No one wants to see you barbecue in your backyard if you're trying to provide information. Yes, behind the scenes stuff is great. Use Instagram stories, use Facebook stories for that. Funnel people to your different social media platforms, right? But if YouTube sees you doing a video about barbecue, right, that you found this great deal and this is what you're doing, it's not going to show your home to people that are shopping for homes. It's going to show your video to people that want to learn how to barbecue with your technique that you're using.
Yeah.
And their algorithm isn't made for that. Majority of your YouTube videos, yes, they will come through search when you're starting off, but later it's going to come through recommended and suggested videos. Because YouTube, what it does is it looks at an individual's past watched videos to recognize a pattern, and then it suggests videos that they may like.
Okay.
Right? So if they're shopping for a home and they're looking at all these home tour videos, they're not going to see your barbecue video. But if they're looking at barbecue videos, they're not going to see your home tour videos, right? So if it doesn't know what audience you're going for and what they like, you're not going to grow your channel. It's going to be 2 years and you're going to be stuck at like 53 subscribers. That's it.
So I keep my personal behind the scenes life on my Facebook and my Instagram, and I keep my YouTube channel directly going toward the industry or the topic that I'm trying to drive my business.
There's a reason I've got 3 YouTube channels. They're all about 3 different things, right?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things, I want to be able to provide valuable content for each audience, and I don't want them to get mixed up, right?
Okay.
Like I've got one channel that's all real estate focused on the Dallas area. I've got one channel that's about investing and trading. I've got one channel that's about helping other agents and other realtors grow their business, right? So my audience that's looking for an investment property in Dallas doesn't care about my video that I put out about, hey, what Instagram posts you should be making to attract clients, right? And other agents that are watching my videos don't want to know about, hey, this is what's happening with the Tesla stock, and this is my opinion on it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I've got it split up into 3 different channels, because this way YouTube knows for each channel who the core audience is.
That makes a lot of sense. So I've got past that initial stage, and I've now got some subscribers, and I'm getting some traction, and I want to level up my game even more because the video content creator world is going to get crowded, and probably crowded quick.
Yeah.
But something new will be coming along. But so if I want to level up, and stay ahead of the game, what would you suggest there?
Number 1, be authentic.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, there's no originality anymore, right? You could have the same message as 10 other YouTubers out there, but people are going to connect with you differently.
Okay.
Right? It's like you and I could make the exact same video, right? You're going to attract a different audience. I'm going to attract a different audience. People are going to connect with you differently than they're going to connect with me. Right? So it's never too late to get into this, but to level up, you got to beat them. You got to be more consistent. You have to, I'm not going to say more original, but you have to build that connection with your audience with the way that you may do the same thing, but a little bit differently.
Gotcha.
Right? You just have to provide that value. And like you said, you come from that, the servant leadership mentality, right?
Yeah.
And that's gonna make that's a great trait to have. That's gonna make a big difference. But one thing that I've seen other YouTubers kind of fall into, and this will help you level up, is when they start getting that flow of leads, they'll stop producing as much content because they're busy servicing clients.
Yeah.
Right? Producing content needs to be a non-negotiable in your time schedule, right? You got a time block for it. No matter how busy you are, you have to make time for it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's going to set you apart, because a lot of creators and a lot of realtors I've seen, they'll put out a ton of content for 6 months, and when that starts working for them, they're going to be busy servicing clients, so they're not going to make as much content. Yeah. When those clients are done, they're like, "Oh my God, now what?" Yeah. You didn't put out content, you didn't put out videos that's supposed to be, sorry,
No, you're right.
that's, you're putting out you stop putting out content for 6 months, which could have been working while you're still servicing those clients, but now your next 6 months are also taken care of, right? You can't think of this in zeros and ones. It's not black or white.
Yeah.
The thing is, you put in the videos and you time block for it, and you just stay consistent, and that's how you can level up.
Okay, perfect. You were talking about started working with clients. You basically stopped lead generating, which is making video content for guys like us. That's our lead gen.
Oh, absolutely.
So when other people are blocking out 3 or 4 hours to make phone calls or door knock, we're blocking out 3 or 4 hours to script write, actually cut the content, whatever it may be. So I think it's just a completely switch of mindset for most agents.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to say during that 6 months where you're working with all these clients that you lead gen for,
Yep.
What's great is you could be making video of all of that process, and that could be your video content for the next 6 months by working with those clients and showing what it looks like.
Yeah, and to go back to your point, right? When you're new to real estate, or where you've been doing this for years and years and years, even traditional brokerages, they teach you first 2 hours of the day, prospecting. You have to do that every day, because there aren't enough friends and family to sell homes to.
Because everybody wants to talk to a realtor at 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Right, exactly, right? So, exactly, right? Are you looking to sell? Do you know what your home is worth?
No, I'm trying to get some coffee and get to work.
So it's like, instead of spending those 2 hours prospecting that way, have a mental mind shift, like you said, and use those 2 hours to come up with topics for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And then the next day, come up with titles. Next day, come up with the script for the video, or whatever, the talking points.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm gonna go into this for a little bit, because I totally forgot to mention this on the last part.
All right.
One of the other big mistakes that I see a lot of YouTubers making, and a lot of content creators, especially in the real estate industry, make, is they'll come up with a video first, and then they'll come up with the title and the thumbnail. You got to reverse engineer that stuff.
All right.
Come up with the title first, see if that sticks, if that's something clickable. Then create the thumbnail to see how that's going to flow together with the title. Then build a video around that.
Perfect.
Because guess what? When people search for stuff, what's the first thing that they see? The title and the thumbnail. They don't know what your video is about, right? If the title and the thumbnail doesn't grab them, they're not going to watch the video. So people will come up with all of these amazing video ideas, and they'll script their thing and all of that stuff. Once it's all edited, they'll be like, all right, cool, now what should I title this, and what should the thumbnail? Like, bro, come on, right? you're starting with the end.
You're preaching to the choir right now.
Sorry, Michael, I didn't mean to call you out unintentionally.
Hey, I never lose. I always learn.
But you see the importance of that now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and when you make that change, oh dude, you're gonna see the difference in your views.
All right. So the formula is title first, thumbnail second, video third.
Yep.
That's your formula, folks.
That's it. That's
All
it.
right. Beautiful. You know, I feel as long as with when we're both Keller Williams agents, so we've heard the Gary Keller say that people can accomplish anything they want in 5 years.
Yep.
I certainly believe that. I always try to bend the curve and do it in a shorter amount of time, like I'm sure yourself does.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like 5 years is a long time if you're really passionate and diving into what you're into. But on the 5-year topic, what do you think social media marketing specifically is going to look like in 5 years?
Man, and that's the thing. The social media, like the landscape, is changing so rapidly, right? It's a little hard to predict that far out, but I really feel that a lot of attention is going to go towards short form like it already has, and that's just going to develop. Okay? I don't know how much you use TikTok and stuff, but before TikTok was just, hey, let's scroll. It's becoming more of a search engine now, where any video that you watch, on top there's a little search bar. And when you put out a video, it kind of categorizes your content and it puts it on a search bar on top of your video. So it's becoming more of a search platform as well. So all of those things are evolving, but I really feel short form is where it's going to be.
Okay.
So, and the cool thing is, yes, you have to post more often to stay relevant with short form social media. But the thing is, it's also easier to record. You're not making a 20-minute video. You're recording like 15, 20-second clips. It's like I put out a video yesterday, right? Of me just using the green screen effect on TikTok and just looking up at those two things, right? That video, and I think 15 hours, has gotten so far about 93,000 views. Yeah. How many phone calls or how many people would I have been able to reach in that amount of time, right?
Not many.
And it's short form, right? And it was a 6-second clip. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Super easy to record. So I think moving forward, long form will always be there because people always want to learn more stuff in detail. Yeah. Right? You want to fix something, you're going to search it up on YouTube. You're going to watch a longer video. But on short form, you're also going to be like, hey, if you just want like a few tips, you're just going to scroll through and you're going to watch that stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's just going to transform more into more short form stuff because people's attention spans, man, they're decreasing. It's harder to keep attention.
Yeah.
And it's all an attention game.
Yeah. Well, when I was coaching basketball, most coaches have pretty much 7-minute is what we pretty much think athletes, if we're sitting and watching video, it's like a 7-minute attention span.
Really?
Even for pro athletes.
Wow.
So, when I got into coaching, we'd go sit in a film room and we'd turn on the tape. And Joe probably remembers this too when he was younger. Coach would turn on the tape, you'd start watching a whole basketball game.
Yeah.
And I know Joe's head coach, which got me on it because he was a mentor of mine, we started cutting up clips probably close to 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then, so basically, instead of watching a whole game, we had kids in there watching 50 clips for 7 minutes or so. And so, I know that now attention span's even shorter because of just, technology and things.
And I'm glad you brought that up because it makes me want to talk about how overwhelming success on YouTube can be. Right? You're not going to go from 0 to 100,000 subscribers overnight, right? It's got to start somewhere, and the thing is, you have to take it as bite-sized steps, right? I was watching this video the other day, and we had a great mastermind with one of the top client journey specialists in the world, right? And one thing that he said that really stuck to me is, don't overwhelm your audience, don't overwhelm your clients by telling them everything that they need to do. Right? And this is what I kind of do when I'm coaching and training other agents on how to do this stuff is, okay, you don't need to think about your videos for the next 3 months that you're going to be putting out, right? Start with week 1, come up with 2 topics, you don't need to come up with 10, execute on those, and then next week come up with the ones for next week. you know. And then once you start building up that muscle to do more, then you can do stuff like I batch out. Like 2 days ago, I sat down and I recorded 5 videos in one sitting, and now I'm gonna release those over the next 2 to 3 weeks, right? But when you're first starting off, you need to practice.
Yeah.
You first put out your first video. Do come up with the titles for this. You have to break it down in small steps to be able to get to the end. And I feel a lot of agents get very paralyzed with fear because they're like, oh, I want to be there, but how do I get there? Well, you got to take your first step first, right?
Yeah.
Right. So and that's how that journey is gonna start, and then it's gonna blow your mind where you're going to be 5 years from now if you just consistently take those small steps.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're from Dallas, and so we've heard this trust the process out of our Dallas Cowboys for about the last 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And, and everybody hates that term, but that is just life and business in general. There's a process to it.
Yeah.
You have to follow it. And if you do follow it, you will find success.
Yeah, and it's not, and the process is not glamorous. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like people want overnight Kardashian success, but man, it's putting in work.
Yeah,
Right?
I think the most successful people enjoy the process.
Oh yeah.
They enjoy the process of building that YouTube channel and things.
Yeah.
So, following along on the lines of being anything you want in 5 years, where do you see AK in 5 years?
Man, first thing that I see in 5 years is hopefully I will have changed a lot of lives with what I'm trying to teach and coach and mentor other agents with, right? Because it truly brings me joy to see other people do well. So, I see breaking records, right? It's like the previous brokerage that I was with, we had 4,700 agents, when I left back in November, and I was ranked number 7. So I broke a lot of records over there with what I was doing with YouTube and things like that. Now I'm with EXP, and we've got over like 90,000 agents. So now I want to break some records with a brokerage that's got over 90,000 agents in it.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like I set my goals high because I know the process works, and if others can do it, why not me? And that's what I tell everyone else. If I can do it, why not you?
Yeah.
Right? I'm nothing special. I just put in the work.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I just see changing a lot of lives, and I also see me hopefully breaking some records, man, and making some waves.
Well, I think when we're changing lives, then behind the scenes, we probably are breaking records. I'm somebody that believes if we're helping other people, we're going to get everything we want out of life. So, man, I appreciate you coming on today. You dropped a lot of great tips. Going to have you back for more. Anything you'd like to follow up with?
Nah, man, the biggest thing, right? If there's one takeaway that you can get from this session right here, is don't overthink it. Just do.
Just do it.
That's it. It's been great, man. It's been great, Michael. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, man.